12 o'clock. Let's call Economic Development Authority regular meeting for January 28th, 2026 to order, please. Please.
Here.
Here?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Approved minutes from meeting on 12/17/2025.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Bills and communication. Renewal of accounts payable, January 6th, 2026, January 20th, 2026. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Moving on here.
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah, you got a red line
Okay.
here.
There was a communication that came up, so I've been corresponding with our vendor that we selected for mowing, and there was a little bit of pushback on the 30-day notice for any party at any time. They wanted to offer, if more than half the lots were sold in the first year, that they would rebid. Is this something that is imperative to the contract, or would we be open to their adaptive change?
So we have a 3-month mowing season, right? Basically?
I think it goes from May to October.
Okay. So 6-month mowing season. So
It's about 12 mows.
But
a
it only
season.
grows 3 months.
I mean, are they the cheapest option, or should we go back to the others?
There were some other less pricey.
I find it hard
Vendors.
to believe that they can't adapt to our terms if they're a viable mowing business, but that's my own.
That would be
pushback.
my thought as well, and maybe that's why we should reach out to some of the other ones and see if they'd be,
Willing to entertain that other
yeah.
offer.
Okay.
I would just be curious of what is the major purpose of absolutely needing, just for understanding,
Needing what?
needing the terms in there. the 30
Well,
terms.
from my standpoint, is it was essentially, what happens if we sell these lots? Like right now, we have 10, we're getting rid of 2. What happens if we get rid of another 2, 3, and now they've got the same amount of, it's a 2-year contract, and they're saying, well, if you sell them all, then we'll cancel it, or if you, whatever it was, I can't remember. Then they'll rebid it. And it was just like, well, the other contracts had terms in there that if there was lot reductions, they were essentially reducing their price based upon
The number of lots.
the number of lot reduced. This one, it was just kind of an all or nothing. We'll do them for X for 2 years.
We could add 1 lot left, paid the full vote.
Correct.
Right now.
With the current,
But didn't we address that?
well, we tried.
That's where the kickbacks
Yeah.
come.
What I
We
basically,
used to address that, because I thought when we were looking at that, the ones that were willing to reduce, even though they weren't willing to reduce, we still looked at they were a cheaper option. Is that correct?
They're in line with another vendor who offers a $250 discount per lot sold. So like, while their base amount is the same, the one that we selected, they've factored in the reduction into their base cost. Similar contender who has the same base cost adds an additional $250 discount per sold lot, if that makes sense.
So I would probably go with that direction.
Yes.
Right?
That would be my thought.
well, I mean, this is kind of your,
Yeah.
this is your baby. The only thing that I had offered or asked for was that we just put a blanket 30-day notice to terminate the contract on either side,
Yeah.
right? So if something came up, and that's when they basically had pushback and kind of said, well, we'd be willing to limit it a little bit, but we're not going to do that. And I said, okay, well, that's entirely up to this group to make that decision, as long as they understand that that's what it is. But the concern was just that. It was like, we're selling 2, well, potentially we're selling 2 right now. If we sell 2 or 3 more, now you're down to 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just seemed like it would be a no-brainer to have a reduction based upon the number of lots.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be
Because we're
dollar for
agreeing-
dollar, but it could be something.
But we're agreeing to a contract based on lots that was when it was bid, that some of them are already gone.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, two
Soon.
more sold.
No, it's not signed, sealed,
Not
delivered,
yet.
done.
Soon though.
So that's why,
When we're
Yeah.
bidding something in the winter that comes season, we're already less than what we
True.
thought we were gonna be at.
I would argue that each lot is worth a specific value to the vendor. And if those lots come off, then we absolutely should
And it's-
reduce the value.
It's not gonna adjust dollar for dollar, like Ron said, there's
Right.
mobilization and other things that are
Right.
built into those fixed costs,
Yep.
but I guess, in my opinion, I would move on to option vendor two,
Sure.
if they're not willing to meet our terms.
Yeah, and I can check and see too if the other vendors are open to adding that clause.
Well, and then I think what I would be doing, well, and if they have a reduction, it
You don't
doesn't,
have to.
that clause
Yeah.
doesn't need to
That's
be in
true.
there.
Right.
Right.
But what I would be
I thought.
basically, I'd just go back to them and say, you know, we're being asked to consider somebody else based upon your response. Are you willing to put that in there or not?
Right, I'd say, since
You-
we
you know
give it
what
a
I mean?
shot, since we
You know?
approved them,
Yeah.
continue seeing if they're willing to agree to it, if not,
And if-
we
Yeah.
gotta kinda start it over again.
Okay.
You probably want to rebid it at that point.
Well, that's why I was thinking we'd have to completely start over
Yeah.
again then, if they're not willing to go with what we've already approved for them.
I don't know if you would.
I don't think you should have
You have
to.
the condition in there, if they're not willing to meet it, these aren't old, I mean, we just went out.
Yeah, just got them.
To me, it's fresh enough that, if there's a lot reduction, if no one offered that, but
For expedience, could we reach out to the other vendors just so that they're aware, so that we're not waiting to hear back, then we have another meeting, then we have to make another decision, and if it,
Well, yeah, and then
Just so
the
that we
other
know
thing
where
about
everybody
what you
stands.
just said there, it wasn't done on a bidding process, it was on a request for proposals, so you don't even need, you can just go to one person if you really wanted to. It's not a bid, so to speak.
I'm just
to me,
thinking,
the answer's there. If
Yeah.
they say no, the second proposal already has what we're asking in it, the $250.
Correct.
With the same basis and price,
Correct.
starting point.
I would make them aware too, though, that they're already.
so then why are we sticking with the
potentially
first
two
one?
lots down from where they bid
Yeah.
at too, though. 'cause-
True. I can let them know that.
Yeah, that's a,
Because they have it now, I think, right?
Yeah, that's what I remember from December meeting is they have it now and they're East Grand Forks company.
Yeah.
There was some consideration.
Correct.
One of the other bidders was Grand Forks.
Yeah, this one is a father-son startup mowing, like lawn care startup company,
And are they based out of,
East Grand Forks.
they're based out of East Grand, so both of them are East Grand Forks businesses? But is that right?
I thought there was 4 bids.
There's
one was
4
from Grand
bids.
Forks, and
That's
3
what
were
I
from
thought,
East
too.
Side.
That's correct.
Okay.
So-
So I would prefer East Side if we can.
That makes sense.
Which one was the bid for the $250 reduction?
That was the father-son startup, Sanger and Sons.
And is that East Grand Forks or Grand
That's
Forks?
an East Grand Forks one.
So-
The one that's currently doing, I think, like our lawn mowing out here, Lost Limb, I believe they're the Grand Forks
Yes.
located one.
Yes, they are.
But I can check with the competitor, with the ones that have the lot reduction, see if they're willing to include that clause, and just follow up again with our primary selection, just let them know, is there any,
But you don't have to include that clause because they already have a reduction built into their
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
Correct.
that's
Sorry.
true, okay.
If they don't, if the first ones don't want to meet our terms, then
Just go with the
pretty easy.
second.
Just go with-
Second.
So do we want to make a,
We need to make a
base-
motion for that, yes.
I'll make a motion that if the first one doesn't want to accept the terms that, as we propose them, we go with the second option, which was, what was the name?
Sanger and
Singer and
Sons.
Son?
and what was their proposal?
It was the same, it was $9,000 for the seasonal cost, so the same $750 per mow times 12 mowings for 6 months, and then the lot reduction was a $250 lot reduction for it being sold.
So I wasn't in the December meeting. Why didn't we just go with that versus the other one?
Because K&H has been doing it for over 20 years, was one of the primary reasons. And then secondly, we had an option to do just a 2-year contract. And so I thought that was what sounded interesting to the group. I might be missing parts too.
History was.
That, history is the biggest thing.
Okay.
So
Loyalty.
Yep.
Yeah.
if Let me ask you, what was the second one, what was their terms? Was it a 3-year contract?
I don't know, I'll have to look that up.
I thought
I
that
think
was
it's
what you're looking
yearly.
at, more like 2 years instead of 3. because
Correct.
Yeah.
We had voted to say 3, and then we just kind of backed up and said, wait a minute, 3 years, they might all be gone.
That's right,
And
yep.
this would be, I guess, a question for the lawyer, but if it's a $250 lot reduction per lot, if you lose 10 lots, does that still mean that we have to pay them when there's no lots?
Yeah, that's a good question too, I can ask them.
Because $250 per lot and there's only 10
Yeah.
lots does not reduce the total contract.
And I didn't really
So that would
see
be
the
my question.
contract.
No, are we going to be paying something to not?
Then you would want to include that 30-day.
Yeah,
Right.
Is there a concern that the cost of mowing is going to go up for that 3rd year if we still have those lots? Like, for me, I'd rather lock in a lower price over 3 years versus 2 years.
I think that's where if we can get somebody to do that opt-out, then we
Right.
just cancel it at any time.
Like, I think if we can have a 3-year, I would prefer a 3-year contract because, like, I agree that costs are only going up. So if we can get someone into a 3-year contract versus a 2-year contract, I would prefer that.
But the $250
With-
reduction.
with the reduction-
And then if they're all sold, we can be done in 30 days or something.
yeah, there'd
We
be a,
cancel it.
then you just
Yeah.
do that, either party can terminate the contract with 30 days written notice, you know?
Right.
Yep.
And does it get to a point that when we have like one lot left, is it better to just have the city mow it than pay a contractor
Yes.
$5,000?
Yes.
I thought when we've explored that option before, the city doesn't.
They don't want to mow 10.
Well, they don't
But I
have the
think
right
if we got down
equipment
to
do it.
2, we could have a discussion. Would you agree with that,
Right.
Reed?
Yeah, it's the wear and tear on equipment is part of it because the ground is not leveled.
Right.
But it was more, I think, from my view, it's more the quantity of lots. Is when we get down to having a couple of left, that's something that.
We'll have a different conversation.
Feasible.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, okay. I would still like to see, there's the lot reduction aspect of it, but then there should also be a 30-day termination notice in there as well. We should have both of those.
Yeah, because we don't want to be, if lots are gone and it's a $250 reduction, we don't want to be on the hook still for $5,000 for no mowing.
Right. And even when we, like, I would argue that once we get down to one lot, the city should be doing it. I mean, it's a different story when you're bouncing around doing 10 different lots all over town. But when it's one lot that really only needs to be done maybe once a month.
Well, is there other stuff in that area that the city mows?
There's a ditch in front of the Jehovah Witness area.
Sure, the right of way along.
And there's a right of way, yeah.
You mow, and you mow that ditch.
I was just curious, because I know that, I mean, I know you guys have struggled for a couple of years of getting mowers and maybe not getting enough mowers until summertime at times, and then those kids are gone back to school or whatever, but, my other logical thinking was if it comes down to that, what about the golf course?
But we don't,
They're right there and they're mowing every day, just jump over and mow and.
no, I was gonna say the city doesn't mow the ditch, these guys mow the ditch. So the city doesn't mow the ditch or whatever's over there, the,
K&H.
whoever does it mows
Okay.
the lots and that ditch. We're not having
Right.
having the
But we are mowing everything along 23rd Street
Right
in the
away.
right of way, right in the road right of way.
Yeah.
So we're in the area already. It's
I was just making sure that it's not an issue where, you know, you're having to drive another so far with those mowers just to mow one lawn. But,
Right. I just don't want to see us having to pay
no.
an exorbitant fee for having one
Oh,
lot there too,
yeah.
when we get down to that number of lots.
I'll second Daniel's motion.
Well,
You want to read?
I don't think you have
Read that
to,
motion, can you read that? Can you read that back so that we can revise it with everything? What did I say exactly?
Well, you said to continue to see if they're willing to go forward, go to the second, if lots come up, the lots price, deduction.
and a 30-day clause.
And the 30,
So we don't need a motion yet, she needs to have a conversation,
$50
Yeah.
reduction and also 30 days and cut off.
Danielle. So we don't need to have a motion, she needs to have a conversation with them to see if they'll even put that verbiage in the contract, correct?
Yeah, and then I'll add it to an agenda item
Yes,
okay.
officially.
and you'll go to both of the companies that we're interested in then?
Correct.
Or all four of them?
I can do the current one that we selected and the secondary. And if the secondary doesn't offer the backup clause, then I can check with the other ones, prioritizing East Grand Forks first.
Yep.
Anniversary.
We got time.
I can withdraw.
Won't be mowing yet.
Yeah, it'll be May.
All right, we can move on from lawn mowing?
Yes.
All right. Delinquencies, nothing, huh? Good job. Director's report, nothing. No.
Just a brief update. Seems like the winds of the economy are doing well. Businesses are looking at different expansion projects, and I'm hearing about investments that they're wanting to make and some new ventures, despite what some voices are saying that there's nothing happening in East Grand Forks. There is stuff happening. It just has not hit headline status yet because they're still either in the ideation or incubation phase. So this is good. Also, I've seen that there's an increase in outreaches to our support and help, which is great because that means obviously what we're doing is working and people are passing the word around. So I'm here to be supportive and helpful.
Financial reports, Carla.
Thank you. You all got the reports for each account and the activity in it, and then the cash is in the packet here. And I just want to make sure that we all know this is a draft for December 31st because since it is the last month of the year, there are year-end entries we have to make. For example, in the 280 fund, the housing fund, the rebates have not been moved out of there, which I believe this year are like at $45,500. So that amount will get reduced in Fund 620, the EDA General. After all of the accounts payable have been completed, we will move the cash, so that will not be negative, it will be zero. And then we also will be adding interest to the other accounts that gain interest, and that would also adjust those discretionary funds. That's where we put the interest for some of those funds. So we'll have another update either next month or the month after that with the final numbers for December. Any questions?
Any questions for Carla?
Like the 626 fund, that next one,
Yes.
that money's not used, or they take it backwards and like that.
No, and we're fortunate because that was done like right after the flood, so we have a little different rules than most cities. But it just that, it's been a program that's worked well. So between collecting the interest in just our amortization schedule, and then we also have been putting interest to it, the fund has just grown. So we know there's money available for.
The way I understand that MIF fund is that we still have to follow the MIF rules, so to speak, but the money's ours because it's been paid back and reimbursed.
Yeah.
I just wondered, just curious.
No, that's good.
All right, social media report.
So there's 2 pages. One shows the different posts that have been doing well, and then the stories that have been doing well. It's exciting to see that our organic reach on the left side column is double what the ads are. So our ad post was that first one that says the Promise Act grants, and we're getting reimbursed for that through the Northwest Minnesota Foundation. They just wanted help in promoting that program more. But it's good to see that our organic followers and interactions are higher than what the paid ones are, which means that like our audience is actually engaging. They have good interactions. They're writing very positive and supportive comments on the post. So it's a nice thing to see. And then our stories are frequently just ones that are different hiring posts that we shoot out, or if there's something exciting going on, or if the visitor center reposts one of the local businesses, will reshare it. So any questions?
I was just going to comment on the Promise Grant that closes January 30th. So there's still time for people to get that in. And the Northwest Minnesota Foundation is available for help. So if anybody's interested, they need to do that quickly.
Yes. All right.
Unfinished business, nothing. New business, up and coming events, EDA participation.
This one is more informational, but also helpful if there's a specific event that you want to attend. So let's see here. The chamber dinner's coming up. If there's anyone that wants to attend that, I don't know if it's too late to get seats, but let us know and we can try to get seats. The Legislative Action Day, we might put a pause on this just because there's a lot of shenanigans going on at the Capitol right now that may kind of detract away from our efforts of working towards the Border Cities Expansion Bill. To be determined, unless there's compelling desire to go. We could review that. And then this just lists out the other ones that you can anticipate. So hopefully some people would like to join us for the Forks Home Show because we do have some passes for that. We've registered again to attend that event. And then just the other upcoming things.
Where's the Forks Builders Show going to be at? Same
It's at the
place?
Purper Arena again.
Okay.
I did put in a request at the Heath facility because it was very difficult last year. Guests that came in were freezing. We were freezing.
Thought you were at a hockey game.
Yeah, I mean, I did not dress for it.
Plan to bring hand warmers.
Yes.
All right. 2311 and 2315 Pinehurst lots combined.
So there's a little picture that shows, these are two of our unsold lots. An interested buyer would like to buy both and then combine them. They're not asking for any reductions or changes. They just simply want to have a larger lot. And it is possible for them to work with planning to combine both the lots, and then it just has one address and it'd be a permanent change. So then they're able to build a house over the original lot line if desired. So if this is something that we'd like to do, we would need a vote for it, and then I can let the realtor know whichever way is determined.
I'll move to approve it.
Didn't we have one of these before?
Yes, but the person ended up buying a different lot.
Sure, was it still these same two lots?
No.
Oh, it's different
Who-
lots.
Yeah, I think it was was it Pebble Beach?
Pebble Beach, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, who has to pay, do the whole thing have to be replotted? Is there going to be costs associated with this?
That ought to be there.
According to Nancy, she's not requiring them to do a replat of that. She's just saying is if they get it, the lots combined at the state or at the county level for one property tax number, and then they
That'd be
build
nothing.
over the lot line and have the setbacks, at that point in time, she says that's fine. And then you won't be able to subdivide that, you wouldn't be able to build another place on that lot because it's now combined
As one.
one lot.
I'm just not, I don't have a problem with it. I just didn't know if there was any associated costs for the city or for the EDA. And I'm not against that. I just wanted to be upfront
No,
about
there
it.
shouldn't be, and
Okay.
if there was, because technically speaking, I'd almost recommend that they do a simple subdivision and combine the two and have one lot myself, but if Nancy, that's her job, if she and the county don't have a problem with it. And if there was, it would just be referred back to the buyers would be responsible for that cost.
I'll second the motion then.
So these prices that they're paying here is the asking price for?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what we're listing them as.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? I didn't think that would happen. All right, Northwest Minnesota Economic Insights.
Okay, so I attended a couple deed webinars, and I read their regular blogs that they put out for our region and also for the state. So to highlight some of the key things for our region, construction, manufacturing, and education, public administration are our top fields, which we can see that reflected in our major businesses in the community, which is East Grand Forks Public Schools, American Crystal, and then R.J. Savril. They're our largest employers. And then this is helpful too for employers who are looking to kind of get a sense for job postings and hiring, and also potentially people looking to go into a new career or starting, their career path. Occupations in demand, it's an OID tool, and essentially it kind of takes the information that is put in through unemployment, job postings, different projections, and then it aggregates them into a little sheet, which is figure number 4 on page 5 of the graphics of charts. It will give the current demand, so it'll give it like a 5-star rating. which that indicates it's the biggest demand, and that is either assumed through it's a growing industry, so they're adding more jobs, or it could be that the industry just has unfilled jobs due to unemployment. And it also will give you like averages on wages. It'll give you projections. It'll also tell you like types of educational requirements. So this is a very helpful tool if you're doing any sort of data or, career planning. Interestingly enough, we saw that the Northwest Minnesota wages, it's like our kind of area, are now outpacing inflation, which is great. And we are also closing that gap between the state wages. So it's closed down to 11.2%, and 20 years ago it was 23.5%. So that's a good sign that wages in the Northwest region are starting to catch up with the state overall. And that's a big indicator of regional success. And then the interesting thing is, for the labor force, we're seeing that there's about 76.7 thousand individuals who are getting close to that workforce age, that 15 to 24-year-old bracket. And then we're also anticipating about 6,500 older employees to exit due to retirement. This is, they said, with the assumption of no in-migration or out-migration. Every constant remains the same, so no additional variables, which we know that is unlikely to happen, but this is how they make their predictions. And then some interesting things came from that, in which they're seeing that employers should consider recruitment techniques that support diverse efforts. And they did mention that the women's labor force participation has dropped. They released some data today that helped clarify that, because it seemed contradictory, but what they meant in that is that they're seeing a drop between ages for 22 to 34 and 55 to 64. However, women in the workforce ages 35 to 44 held steady, and they saw an 87.5% increase for women ages 45 to 54. So this will be helpful for different employers looking to make different programs or considerations and policies as the workforce becomes more diverse and inclusive of different types of people and backgrounds. Interestingly, I've even asked ChatGPT this question. I'm like, is AI going to take over jobs? And even ChatGPT says, no, it's not. So
That's probably programmed in.
it could be. What they did say, though, in the training was that if somebody knows how to use artificial intelligence or different software and programming, they will be more likely to take a job over someone else who does not have that skill, not just simply AI is going to take your job.
Correct.
Which we're seeing that too locally with different computer programs that help sort different types of consumer goods or products. They have machinery, but then you have to have a human that helps ensure that it's being processed correctly and it's not, exploding or catching on fire. So the argument that it's going to eliminate jobs is not exactly true. It will likely augment them. And they said that people who are typically in high wage, high educational required jobs may have the most exposure to AI, so they may work more synchronously with it. Say, like, you're using, an admin may use ChatGPT to format like a document or a template or a report, whereas we have a socioeconomic study going on, and the consultants for it suggested that this region may see less of an impact in AI in our jobs, simply because we might be more insulated from it due to our high tactile and construction jobs, where they require more of a human managing the processes than, say, a computer. So that's some food for thought. And the interesting thing is, we won't really see the impact of the AI into jobs until, they said, about 10 years. They said with like the internet coming on, they didn't have the realized impacts until about 10 years after. And it's usually slow, and it's in a cumulative way, so it's not like tomorrow, like the robots are coming in, everybody panic. It's going to be more of a, cumulative adoption. So for our region, again, just to watch our top industries: construction, agriculture, healthcare, and social assistance are very needed. And then on the page that shows Table 1, this is a helpful layout if somebody is considering, should I go to college, should I go to a tech school, should I just jump out in the working world? They can see from this source with the data information below. They could go to the website and search different jobs that are in high demand and see the different wages. And honestly, a lot of these have good pay and don't have a huge amount of front-loaded education and training required. So essentially, younger adults and people looking to make a change in their career could set themselves up for a good financial future. And let's see, some of the other charts help reflect some of the information covered. Okay, I think that's good for me on that, unless there's questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Intergovernment retreat recap.
Okay, so we consolidated this event down from 4 hours to 2 hours with a 30-minute lunch in the beginning, which was optional. And it seemed like we had some positive feedback. We had 19 attendees, and we had a section for people to talk about their normal updates and then some breakout groups. And the breakout groups yielded some information to work towards in terms of like having a workforce or an employment component at the showcase event, which seemed very doable, improving some of the regulatory experiences, and then just better awareness of local services. So my hope is that we can add some of these into our current processes and then give an update mid-year just to show that we've made good on what we said we're working towards.
Sure. All right, monthly e-blast to quarterly.
So on the last page of the packet, it shows the reports from our e-blast that we've done each month. And while the average rate is good, it's 33%, this is more just update, I'm looking to move it to quarterly, because we started getting people unsubscribing, which I get people are flooded with emails, and that can be difficult. But we are trying to send out information that's helpful, so I'll send out 5 going forward top updates that are actionable and quick to read through, so it's not taking up people's time and they don't feel confused if there's multiple calls to action in the e-blast. And you can see that our open rates were good. They say above 30% is good, but ideally 40% is where you want to be. And we're working on it, so Promise Act 1 had some great open rates, but largely the last few months prior to that weren't so great. So trial and error. I'll be finding out if this 5 highlights works out, and then I'll just send out funding emails as they come out. So that way people can see it and have one action item as opposed to multiples. Unless there's any feedback or things that we should change.
Any thoughts? I think you're going in the right direction.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens is if you have too many unopened rates, they'll start dinging you, and then they'll start suppressing your emails. And from what I've noticed when I go through our numbers, a lot of them are unopened, which is disappointing. So it's just sitting there, and maybe it went to spam, or maybe the spam filters caught it. So when you have higher open rates, then the internet prioritizes it to be actually delivered.
Okay. 208 fund use alignment.
Okay, this is our beefiest one, and I'm assuming that we will also probably work on this next month too. So this is our housing fund, and we do multiple things out of this account, from our tax abatements, landscaping grants, the home builders incentives, different legal costs, mowing, property taxes, things of that nature. So with the houses being, or with the lots being reduced in sale, because we're coming down to the home stretch of about 10 left, we will be not necessarily generating the same amount of revenue that we did when we had 80 lots available. So I guess, what would be our goals with this account? Do we still want to try to offer certain incentive programs? And if so, where would we want to generate the funds from that?
That's a good question.
So, like this is back when I built the house here 25 years ago, I got the property tax, the 10-year buy down, remember that, Carla?
What you got, there was an incentive for a $5,000 incentive,
I
then
had
asset.
it was 10.
Or the 10,000
Yeah,
for,
but
if you stayed there 10
if I
years, then we
stayed
went to
there 10 years.
5,000
Yeah.
for 10 years.
That comes out of this fund?
We no longer do that.
Yeah,
But
that
would
one's done.
that have?
That's where it did come from.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. And the sale of those lots did cover that, which, like she said, there's
No
technically
lots.
probably 10 left.
Yep.
So if you look at the total, and, because Maggie and I talked about this before, so if you're doing the tax rebate abatements, which is, say, $50,000 a year, and we intend to do that for the next 10 years, then there's enough money to do that. I know it's kind of the question is, do we have money to do a loan for the builders? So if you look at the total, there's 300,000. And those are, that's strictly a loan, you know, we've been giving out 100,000 to a couple of them. So that would replenish the fund. So if you're doing something that replenishes the fund, it's not a big deal. It's just if you do some incentive that you don't get anything back. And I think, you know, the intention was, you know, can we sell those lots quicker if we do those $100,000 loans? Because a couple of years ago, we didn't have enough money in there to do it. So that would be the question is, do we want to do that again?
Outstanding still?
No.
They've all been paid back, loans that we
Yep.
have already?
And they usually they're done with in the year or with even the calendar year because they start building probably in the spring and it's almost sold by fall. It might extend over, you know, a calendar year, but not very long.
I just have a question, with that account, once we're done with lots, and if there's money left in that account, can that money be transferred to a different account, used for different things, or would we just use what we have for these programs and use that until that money just completely runs out?
I think the intention would be to just continue to do those tax abatements, and then when this money runs out, we've done with the tax abatements, or have to find another fund to do it.
So right now, do we have, what's currently set up right now besides that $100,000?
We don't have anything set up.
You don't have anything
No,
on the
because
books right now?
we put those on hold. So I think the question is that something we want to do again to incentivize those lots, or just leave the balance where it is?
Reed had something here.
They're not on hold. The $100,000 builder program, if you remember when Paul Gordy was here, we put it on hold. And then shortly after, right at the end of Paul's term and right shortly after Maggie started, we said we would reinstate that program. Because there's funding here to do it.
Sure.
We have not had any applications in that time, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is still an active program?
It's an active program.
It might be
It's
something
not,
we need
it's
to
not
do.
really actively advertised, but
Right.
it is an active program. If somebody came to ask Maggie, it would be available. Yeah.
But there's no tax abatement at all?
The tax abatement is active. That's the other president touched on.
It
The
is.
2-year new home construction tax abatement is active and authorized through new homes built through 2026.
Okay.
So that's the next thing coming is Maggie's going to have to bring that through this board, through council, and then the other two governing bodies, the county and the school, to see do we want to continue that for another period of years. The last renewal, we did 4 years. We renewed it in 2021 to fund it through 2026.
Which actually hits like 2030 because of the
Yeah.
homes aren't completed.
So
They're
we
not at full
necessarily
value.
wouldn't need action today,
Correct.
but we would need, if we want to push some advertising out for that $100,000
Right.
program to
Yep.
builders, maybe up to folks builders.
Yeah, and when I talked to residential developers why we're struggling to sell these lots, I told them about the incentive program. Some knew about it, some didn't. My only anxiety is that loan comes from the entire account. So if, say for instance, the tax abatements come due, we've already lent the money out, we may not, this could be wrong, we may not have the funds to cover it.
It was kept at 3 at a time, or 2 at a time.
Yeah, no more than 3.
There was no more than 3
So
at
I
any
don't think you
time.
could get into that spot, because that was the.
That was talked about, Kurt.
Yeah, it was no more than 3
Sure.
when I originally started.
But
But you'd
the,
have funds for that.
but the mowing also comes out of there, the landscaping grants, so it's not just like one allocated amount of money.
Do we need to cut it down to just the ability to do 2?
I've been telling people just to protect that extra 150,000 to ensure that there's coverage
I mean,
for.
it
I'd
makes
rather-
sense if we reduce the amount that's there because we have less lots that need to be sold, so.
Correct.
I mean, if we reduce it
People are
from
knocking
3
on
to
our
2.
doors to build houses.
Exactly, so, I mean, if we want to leave
Doesn't
that
really
cushion
matter.
in there for the tax abatement, I wouldn't see that being an issue either.
Yeah, because I
There
mean, but
there
you look
is a
at it,
little bit of revenue that comes in there because Valley Golf has a loan there that they pay like $3,000 a month. So it's like $18,000 a year that comes into the fund.
I don't have a problem if we want to reduce it to 2. I don't know that we're gonna have 3 builders all of a sudden come to us and tell us. they
Well,
want
and
to build a home.
if we get a third, then we'll be talking to Stumpy and Ben anyway, so.
Well,
I mean, yeah, we could set it to where there's 2 available, and if there is a third that.
We'll
comes into
cross that
play,
bridge when we get there.
Bring it to the board, and we can make a decision from there based on what our other expenses look like, would be my thought.
That sounds good. And then based off the 2016, which is the most recent version I could find, do we have any, did you guys do any amended terms since then, or was that the most recent one? Because that's a while ago. And then it seems like it's missing rules and recourse and interest accrual if like they are held up in the process and it goes for 3 years instead of, I believe it's just the 1 year.
I thought it was there, I thought there was something in there in a time
I'll have to
frame.
look at the documents, but I mean, I think
Yeah.
that there was some issues in there. There's a specific time frame that's in them that you have to repay it back.
Correct.
There's also that $1,000 down program. Basically, all it is they just, when they sell the house or turn it over, then they pay the lot price at that time, so there's that one in there too. But I think most of the stuff you're talking about is actually in the loan documents itself, the loan agreement and the security agreement, and
Because there is some verbiage in there about that.
We just,
so I'll look at it, but I believe
Okay.
we're covered under
Yes.
timeframes anyway.
All right. Moving on. Whoa, the major dilemma here. For the closed session, for Ms. Brockling, annual review. Do you say that in the red, Mr. Gallstead, or do I?
Nope, you go ahead and do
Okay.
it, and then, since my input's not really necessary, I'm out of here.
Thank you, Ron.
Yep,
Do we
thanks.
turn these off?
Well, we got to make sure that we're not being broadcasted too, but first,
We go into full session.
Yeah,
Yes.
you basically need a motion.
the meeting,
I'll make, go ahead and read it.
Announce why you're doing it.
yep, the meeting is being closed pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 for the performance evaluation of Maggie Brockling. Ms. Brockling's performance for the year of 2025 will be discussed with the specific goals to be accomplished and performance areas for improvement. Ms. Brockling will be allowed to respond, provide comment, and request additional direction from the board. We'd need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll motion to go into closed session.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, is anybody checking on internet way?